Good morning, or good afternoon, or good evening, depending on where in the world you are currently. I hope you're having a fabulous time, and I hope that you're ready to learn some phrasal verbs. Now, phrasal verbs are a very important part of English language acquisition. We use phrasal verbs all the time in formal situations, in social situations. They are deeply integrated into our day to day language. So it's really important that you start to get to grips with them, as early as possible. Phrasal verbs are tricky to learn. There are so many of them. And one phrasal verb can have multiple meanings depending on the context. And there's not a blanket rule to learn lots of phrasal verbs in one go. You have to learn each phrasal verb for its own phrase. You have to just learn it one at a time and in context. So it can be tricky, but you shouldn't be overwhelmed. You shouldn't be overwhelmed by the mountain that is the thousands of phrasal verbs. What you should do is just be open and learn a few at a time. Learn the ones that are useful to you as you hear them, make a note of them. If you find ones that you like, try to use them again and again. Ones that are meaningful in life. For example, if you are having a tough time, or you're sitting on a bus and someone suddenly starts crying and having a really sad moment, then they've just broke down on the bus. And so you can maybe write that story out or tell that story using the phrasal verb to break down. Maybe the bus breaks down while you're on the same journey where the person sitting next to you broke down, because breakdown, you see, can mean that a vehicle stops working. The bus is now pulled over to the side of the road. Pull over. There's another phrasal verb. Because it's broken down. The hazard lights are flashing. They've got the engine exposed. They're tinkering with the engine, trying to get it working again. And the lady who's crying next to you apologizes for breaking down during this journey in which the bus broke down. And so you might write about this and say, oh, there's two versions of breakdown that I experienced today. It's easier to acquire language when you're physically living it, when you're experiencing it, making it meaningful to you. Okay, so I'm going to share with you some phrasal verbs today. And if you can, take a phrasal verb that you're interested in and write your own little sentence talking about something that is real, true, and meaningful to you, but using the phrasal verb, then that's going to be the best use of this time together. That will help you to at least walk away with a couple of phrasal verbs in your pocket. But of course, there are notes. Now, the notes I'm going to share with you on screen today. But if you are someone who enjoys collecting notes and PDFs, then I do have an offer available today. You see, I've been making PDFs for years now. And I have a huge library of PDFs. I think the count at the moment is about 246 PDFs in my PDF vault, my PDF library. And we have a special offer today if you are interested in having a library card, a lifetime access to my library, which means you get all the PDFs that are there now, as well as every PDF I add week after week, moving forward for as long as I continue teaching into the future. So if you'd like access to that library, I've just shared the link with you now, or it's in the description, and it also includes today's notes as well. But you'll see those notes on screen as we move ahead. So let's dive into today's lesson. Okay, so this is a lesson that was shared not so long ago within my fluency program for my fluency students. And it's all around the idea of breaking up for the school holidays. Of course, now we are a week in to the school holidays. It impacts many people, not just children and teachers, but it also impacts all the parents and all the colleagues and bosses who work with parents who are having trouble with the school holidays, trying to juggle the responsibility of childcare and work. If you are affected by the school holidays in any way, let me know in the comments how the school holidays affect you. In the UK, our school holidays are around 6 weeks long. And 6 weeks is a long time. As a parent, I've never really experienced it before, but as a parent, it's quite a lot of time to juggle the children. Do I have kids? Yes, I have 2 young children. So one is at school, and we're now dealing with the school holidays. 6 weeks. How do we manage? Grandparents are very helpful at this time. Okay, so let me start by reading the first paragraph here in our story. In many parts of Europe, the final school term is winding down, or they might even have wrapped things up already. Pupils and students are gearing up for the long-awaited summer break, and teachers are eager to tie up their loose ends so they can finally kick back and relax after another challenging year. Now I'm going to carry on through and we'll come back and look at the phrasal verbs. Some kids have already checked out mentally. Trying to complete the final unit of the class book with my own group of 11-year-olds has gone down about as well as if I had asked them to tuck into a plate of live spiders. The summer holidays seem to me to be far too drawn out where I live, spanning over 3 months. June is full of parties and days off, and much of September is used to reacclimatize the students to school life. Indeed, I know some families who are setting off on trips even before the last day of term. Most of them, though, will do the decent thing and stick around until the bitter end, making the most of those precious hours when their kids are still being looked after before the logistical nightmare of childcare organisation kicks in. For teachers, this time of year can be a blend of fatigue, mild or severe chaos, and, dare I say it, an almost guilty sense of relief. Some are dying to switch off and start plowing through their reading list. Others are about to be struck by the sudden fear that they haven't brushed up enough on their English or Italian and won't be able to get by on their holidays abroad. Luxury problems, eh? No doubt, over the coming weeks, instant messaging groups will be buzzing as parents try to piece together a patchwork of camps, grandparents, screen time, and last-minute favors from friends. Some will sign their kids up for everything going: pottery workshops, trampoline parks, eco-gardening boot camps, just to keep the wheels turning. Others might simply let things slide and play it by ear, embracing a looser routine and hoping for the best. Of course, Not everyone can pull that off, but whatever the circumstances, here's hoping the holidays don't just fly by, and that somewhere between the airport queues, snack negotiations, and battles over sun cream, we can look back on and hang on to a happy memory or two. Okay. So there we go. That's what we're working with today. A few paragraphs of quite advanced English. If you are at upper beginner or lower intermediate level, please don't be scared. Okay, don't be scared by what you've just seen. Please stick around because you will gain something from jumping in at the deep end. Those people who are literally thrown in at the deep end, thinking about a swimming pool, learn to swim much faster than those wading around in the shallow end. So if you find material quite advanced, don't run for the hills. Stick around. Okay, stay with me. All right. So lots of people saying hi. What time is it here? It's just gone 10:40 a.m. in the morning. I am well. Thank you for those asking. And it's lovely to see many of you here with me today. Okay. So let's have a look now at the phrasal verbs. Now, if you have any questions about the phrasal verbs, please do feel free to ask. I will try my best to answer the questions coming in. If I don't see your comment, please don't be upset. There's a lot for me to focus on, but I'll try my best. Okay, so coming back to the material, let's now deep dive into the phrasal verbs. So let me get my notes up here and bring it on screen a little larger. There we go. So, in many parts of Europe, the final school term is winding down. So, to wind down is to gradually, like slowly come to an end. And it's usually about relaxing after a period of activity. So, for example, at the end of a busy day, I try to get my children to wind down before bed. Because if I just let my children do their own thing, they will be running around like crazy, screaming and shouting and having the best time, but they will be so energized. I would use the phrase wired, the slang term wired. They are wired. Their eyes are wide. They are full of energy. And it's really hard then to get them to lie down and go to sleep. So rather than allowing them to run around screaming and throwing themselves about, I say, come on now. The last hour of the day is about winding down. Let's stop running around. Let's use our quiet voices. Let's have some relaxing music, maybe some meditation music humming in the background. Let's not have any more snacks, no more food now, just some water and just relax. I'm trying to get them to wind down. I dim the lights. We turn off screens. I read them a story. We have a little chit chat and a cuddle. And that's how I get them to wind down after a busy day. What do you do after a busy, hectic, stressful day? What do you do to wind down? Some people enjoy a relaxing bath. Some people like to sit and watch the TV. Others like to go for an evening walk if they live in a nice area where it's nice to go for a walk. I live by a very busy road, so walking around here isn't great. But what do you do to wind down? So it's about slowly coming to an end. You can also wind down activities at work or a business. If a business is going to close, they'll be winding down the whole operation. They'll slowly and gradually come to an end. They'll be letting employees go. They'll be reducing the amount of stock they buy and winding everything down. Okay, so that one's quite straightforward. What is the next phrasal verb? So the final school term is winding down, it's coming to an end. Or they might have even wrapped things up already. So to wrap up, you can see this has been separated. Wrap up has another word in between. This is a separable phrasal verb. Some phrasal verbs you can separate. Some you can't. So some phrasal verbs you can put the object in the middle, but some you can't. So you have to kind of learn which ones are separable as you go. So to wrap things up, to wrap up is something I use all the time, and it just means to finish something completely. This is often used in business English. You might also hear this at school or in any kind of gathering or meeting. To wrap things up is to finish something completely. So, for example, if you're in a meeting and the meeting has gone on for 30 minutes, then the person organizing the meeting might look at his watch and say, okay, let's wrap things up. Let's end the meeting. Let's finish talking about this point and then all go back to work. Okay, so to wrap things up. At the end of a class or a live stream like this, I would say, okay, I'm going to wrap this up now. I'm going to wrap up this live stream. I'm going to bring it to a close. Quite straightforward, I think. Okay, any questions so far? Can't see any. Great, let's carry on. Pupils and students are gearing up for the long-awaited break. So to gear up for something, to gear up for something. To gear up for something is basically to prepare for something. Imagining gear being like kit, tools, the things that you need. If you gear up, you're preparing yourself for whatever it is you're going to do. So here, the pupils and the students are gearing up for, they are preparing themselves for the long-awaited, because most students are desperate for that summer break, the long-awaited summer break. I loved the summer break when I was a child. And I enjoyed school. I miss school, but I also really enjoyed the relaxed nature of the summer break. Not having to get up and rush in the mornings, having more time at home to play in my bedroom, to play with my friends, to spend time with my family. So I was gearing up for the summer break. Once we got to the end of the summer term, I was ready for it. Okay. So why would you gear up for a holiday? Gearing up is just about preparing for it. Certainly parents gear up for the holiday because they have a lot to prepare. For me, I was quite anxious about my first time experiencing as a parent, a working parent, experiencing my two children out of childcare for an entire block of time. Like a week, you can manage. 2 weeks, it's tricky, but 6 weeks is a lot. So for months now, I've been gearing up for this break, getting ready for it. From the pupil and the student perspective, gearing up is just getting ready for it, feeling excited about it, making plans, what you're going to do. Many students are teenagers, Maybe they've made lots of plans to go and spend time with their friends. Maybe they're going to challenge themselves to finishing a video game, or maybe they're going to build a tree house or something. They're preparing for it. Okay. All right. Next in our passage, we have, and the teachers are eager to tie up their loose ends so they can finally kick back and relax after another challenging year. So teachers are eager to tie up their loose ends. So to tie up loose ends, imagine you have a parcel. Okay. And with the parcel, you have your paper. You've wrapped the parcel in paper. And now you need to use string, because this is the old days. We don't have sellotape. You're going to use string to tie up the parcel. And maybe you have 2 pieces of string. So you have 4 loose ends. So before your parcel is ready to go, you have to take the loose ends and tie them up. And once you've tied up your loose ends, your parcel is ready to send. That's the very visual and literal version of tie up loose ends. As a phrase, to tie something up is to complete a task or resolve something. Okay? Generally, tying up loose ends is just dealing with any tasks that need your attention to be resolved before you can move on. For example, if it comes to 5 o'clock, I'm working from home. My partner sometimes works from home. We work in this little office at the end of the garden. If it comes to 5 o'clock and I'm supposed to be making dinner, I've picked up the children from school, I'm supposed to be making the dinner, but I still have a few very important emails to send. Maybe I need to finish a lesson plan for tomorrow. Or create a Zoom link for my fluency student to have a meeting with me. I need to do that tonight. So I'll say to my partner, it's 5 o'clock. Can you just stop work and come and do the dinner so I can tie up my loose ends? These are tasks that I must finish today before I go into a full day's work tomorrow. I must tie up these loose ends, tasks that need resolving. Okay. And he'd say, yes, I can give you half an hour, and then I must also tie up my loose ends. Okay. So I hope that's clear. All right. And then once they've tied up their loose ends, these teachers can finally kick back and relax. So to kick back and relax. Kick back is just like taking it easy. It means to relax. It's like being on a sun lounger, and you might kick your legs up and lie back. It's that feeling of lying back, relaxing. So the teachers, they've tied up their loose ends. They can finally kick back and relax. We don't always need to say and relax. You might just say it's time to kick back. But often we do add relax on as well. So to kick back and relax. It's just a flamboyant way of saying relax. Okay? Right. Next paragraph. Some kids have already checked out mentally. Okay, so to check out. Now, this would be used often if you are traveling and staying in accommodation. Check out is the phrasal verb that we use when you leave, say, a hotel or any kind of accommodation. If you're renting a little cottage or something, Airbnb, for example, you would check out at the end of your stay. And this means to leave and do whatever it is you're supposed to do officially to leave. So when you check out of a hotel, you normally go to reception and say, here's the key, I'm checking out. And they'll say, okay. and they'll just type in your details. Maybe they'll check to see if you need to pay any extra fees, maybe if you used some additional services. And then they'll clear your account and say, fantastic, thank you for your stay. Take care. That's to check out. You can also, like in this case, check out mentally. So if you check out mentally, it means that you're no longer caring or no longer paying attention. It's like you've said, I'm not interested anymore. For example, maybe you're listening to me now, and initially you were very interested in my lesson, but maybe my dulcet tones have bored you. And maybe, I hope not, but maybe you're listening to me, but mentally you've checked out. Maybe you're thinking about what you're going to have for your next meal. Maybe you're looking out of the window and thinking about something else completely. Maybe you've mentally checked out. So yes, like you've left, you've gone. I know, come back, please. Okay. All right. So hopefully you haven't mentally checked out, but certainly students at school, having done a long year and after a long summer term, usually have mentally checked out. Okay, so they're trying to complete the final unit of the class book with my own group of 11-year-olds has gone down about as well as if I'd asked them to tuck into a plate of live spiders. Okay, so to go down. This is a tricky phrasal verb. If something hasn't gone down well, or if something does go down well, then it's about how something has been received. So you could say, if you make, let's say you make a nice pot of mate tea. So you made some nice tea, a mate tea for your guests, and your guests love it. And I say to you, I know you're excited about giving your guests mate. Did they like it? How did it go? Did they enjoy it? Did they thank you, or did they not like it? And you could say, the mate tea went down extremely well. It went down extremely well. So I'd say, oh, fantastic. I'm glad. I'm really glad it went down well, because you were hoping it would go down well. So it's all about how it's received. I could turn up on a live stream, and although I'd promised you 25 phrasal verbs, maybe I only teach you 2 phrasal verbs and then say, that's your lesson, see you, bye. But I wouldn't do that, because I don't think that would go down well with you. I've promised you 25 phrasal verbs. I should deliver 25 phrasal verbs. But if I undercut my promise, if I betray your trust by only giving you 2, then that would not go down well. It would not be received in a positive way. Have you ever done something that went down well, or something that didn't go down well? Let me know. Try and write something using go down. It's a tricky phrasal verb. Now here in the example, the teacher here has tried to get their 11-year-olds to finish the unit of a class book, and that went down. It's gone down, as well as asking them to tuck into a plate of live spiders. Now, the phrasal verb tuck into. This is a common phrasal verb that means to enjoy eating something, or to just go ahead and eat something enthusiastically. We use this phrasal verb often as an invitation for someone to start eating. So if you're sitting at the table with friends and all the food's been laid down, the host or anyone at the table could turn to everybody else and say, tuck in. It's like saying, enjoy your food. Please eat. Enjoy. Go ahead. Often anyone serving the food, not a waitress, but if you're all at a friend's or family member's home and they're serving food, they would usually, in the UK at least, they'd usually say, okay, guys, tuck in, start eating. I guess in French, it would be bon appetit. It's the phrase that means go ahead and eat. So in this example, we've said that asking the children to do some more work from their book has gone down about as well as if you'd asked them to tuck into a plate of live spiders. So obviously it didn't go down well, because asking students, children, or anyone to eat a plate of live spiders is a horrible thing. And they'd be like, what? No. So we are comparing asking the children to finish their work to asking them to eat enthusiastically a plate of live spiders. It's gone down as well as that. Hopefully that's nice and clear. Here's a good question. To go down in history has a different meaning. Yeah, so to go down in history means to be recorded or to be remembered for something. So if you have an incredible holiday and someone does something so remarkable while you're on holiday, maybe one of your friends who's normally very timid, I don't know, maybe they have a glass of sangria or two, and you're at the coast and there's a cliff and people are doing cliff diving, and your very timid friend who never drinks, who never does anything out of the ordinary, who's scared of heights, suddenly gets a burst of confidence and decides that they are going to cliff dive with these youngsters. And he jumps off the cliff in spectacular fashion, and you're all astounded. Then you might say, this holiday and that moment will go down in history as the best moment of our friendship, or the best moment of our lives, seeing that, witnessing that moment. So it's to be remembered and recorded for reasons of it being remarkable. Or bad. Yes, it could be bad as well. Okay. Let's see if there's any other questions. Okay, I'm going to carry on. There's a lot to cover, so I'm going to carry on. Okay, so next we have the summer holidays seem to me to be far too drawn out where I live. So if something is drawn out, then it means it's extended for too long. So sometimes people talk too much. I'm purposefully speaking a little slower now than I ordinarily would. And maybe you think that I'm drawing out my explanations. And maybe you don't like that. Maybe you find it useful that I go over a phrasal verb a number of times. Maybe you like that I draw out my explanations, but generally it means to draw something out means it's too long. If you're at a dinner party with your in-laws, maybe you don't enjoy spending time with your in-laws, and your partner says, hey, my mum's asked if we want to stay around for drinks after dinner. Or do you want to play a game of Monopoly after dinner? You might say, I'd rather not draw out this dinner if we possibly can help it. I'd rather leave when it's polite to leave. I'd rather not draw it out, because spending additional time with the in-laws is not fun. So extending beyond what feels like a a reasonable amount of time. Okay. Next, let me bring this up again. So the holidays are far too drawn out, spanning over 3 months. June is full of parties and days off, and much of September is used to reacclimatize the students to school life. Indeed, I know some families who are setting off on trips even before the last day of term. So set off is quite a simple one. We use this to talk about beginning a journey. So when we're talking about trips and journeys, setting off is the start of that. You would say to someone, you're going on holiday tomorrow. I will feed your cats for you. Brilliant. Great. I'll drop a key off tonight. Great. What time are you setting off? Are you going to give the cats breakfast? Do I need to come in and do breakfast? No. I'm setting off quite late, about 11 a.m. So I'll do their breakfast. They'll be fine for the day. You just need to come in the evening. Oh, okay. So you're setting off at 11. Yeah. Our flight isn't until the afternoon. So we're setting off relatively late. Normally, if you're going on holiday, you would probably set off quite early because you want to make the most of that day where you're transitioning from home to your holiday destination. It's nice to arrive early. Maybe if you're skiing, you'd like to set off very early in the morning so that you can arrive in your destination and maybe get out on the mountain by the afternoon. That's fantastic. Okay, so next, after set off, most of them, though, will do the decent thing and stick around until the bitter end. So to stick around is to stay in a place. I might say to you, I know I've gone on holiday now, and I know I said I'd be back on Friday, but I don't need to be in work until Monday, and we have no reason to be home over the weekend. So I'm going to stick around here for a little bit longer, if that's okay. Or if I'm staying at your home, you've said come and stay, but we haven't said how long for. You might say, how long are you sticking around for? How long are you planning to stick around for? Okay, so it's to stay in a place and not leave. I'm planning to stick around for a few days, unless you need me to go. Okay. So most of them will do the decent thing and stick around until the bitter end, till the very last day of term, making the most of those precious hours when the kids are still being looked after before the logistical nightmare of childcare organization kicks in. Whew, this is a long sentence. Okay, so to make the most of something is to use something in the best possible way. So a situation may not be ideal, but you should probably make the most of it. In life, generally, it's good to make the most of what you have when you have it. My eldest son is a homebody. He likes to be at home. He gets anxious with a change of scenery. He doesn't always like to be somewhere else. So he might complain to me and say, Mom, I really don't want to go to soft play, or I don't like this club. I think recently I put him into a music club because I thought he might enjoy music classes. But he didn't enjoy it. But I needed him to go to music club because it was part of my childcare organization so I could work. And I paid for all the classes in advance. That's what you normally have to do here. You pay for 10 classes in one go. and you can't get the money back if you decide it's not for you. So I was like, I'm sorry you're not enjoying it, sweetheart. I won't book you onto it again in future, but for now, you have to stay in the class for the next few sessions. Just make the most of it. I know it's not ideal, but use the opportunity while you have it. You're with friends. You are doing relatively fun things. You're singing, you're playing instruments. So make the most of it. Enjoy and use the opportunity. Even if it's not perfect, just use it. Just do it. Okay. Yes, me forcing him to go. I did cancel music class after that because I'm not terrible. So I asked him to make the most of his time, but also while I was on holiday, there were some days where I was quite tired and the weather wasn't very nice. So, for example, my very last day on the Isle of Wight, it was raining, it was a bit windy, and we were all very tired. But it was our last day on the island, and the island has some beautiful beaches and great coastline that's fantastic for fossil hunting, which is why we were there. And so I said to my family, let's not waste this day. We have an opportunity today. I know it's raining. I know we're tired, but let's not waste it. Let's make the most of this opportunity to go fossil hunting because we can't do that at home. We can't access the beach or the coastline. So let's make the most of it. Okay. So we made the most of it, and we found some fantastic fossils on the last day. So I'm glad that we made the most of that time. So the parents are making the most of the precious hours when the kids are still being looked after. To look after, this means to take care of. Okay, so I look after my children, but when I'm working, I put them into a childcare setting, whether that's school and nursery or a summer camp, perhaps. And I pass my children to the teacher, and now the teacher will look after those children. They will be responsible for the children while during that time that's been agreed. Okay, so whoever is in charge of a childcare setting is looking after the children. At the moment, my mother-in-law is looking after my children. She is responsible for them, taking care of them, making sure they're fed and they're safe and they are entertained. Okay. Next. So the parents are using the opportunity, making the most of the opportunity to have their children be looked after, so taken care of by someone else, before the logistical nightmare. So it's very hard to organize. We use this phrase a lot, a logistical nightmare, when something is hard to organize. Before the logistical nightmare of childcare organization kicks in. So kick in means to begin to take effect. We often use kick in when talking about medication. For example, if you are in a lot of pain, like you have a headache, you take paracetamol or ibuprofen or whatever medication you take for a headache, and it's not going to work instantly. It might take 5-10 minutes to kick in. So 5 or 10 minutes to take effect. So I might give you some paracetamol and say, just swallow them with water, give it about 10 minutes, and then it should start to kick in. So it should start to work, to begin working, taking effect. Okay. Next paragraph. For teachers, this time of year can be a blend of fatigue, which is tiredness, mild or severe chaos, and, dare I say it, an almost guilty sense of relief. So I think teachers are always relieved, to be honest, to have a break, because teachers, especially in mainstream education, have a very tough job. They work long hours. They have a lot of pressure, not just for looking after the children and helping the children to progress, but they have pressure from their heads of department, the head teacher, from each set of parents for each child who are always asking questions and needing to know things, and then all the paperwork that's required. I used to work in mainstream school. It didn't last long because of the pressure. So I think many teachers are relieved to stop. And some teachers are dying to switch off. So to switch off is to stop thinking or stop worrying about something. Often when you have any kind of holiday, or Americans would call it vacation, if you're having a holiday from work, a break from work, then one of the main things you want to do, whether you're going away or not, one of the main things you want to do is just switch off. You don't want to worry about work. You don't want to think about it. Unfortunately, these things, mobile phones, have made it increasingly difficult to switch off, because you carry your phone with you. And normally, organizations now connect the employees through WhatsApp groups or Telegram groups or some sort of instant chat. You get your email notifications, everything to do with work usually comes to your phone. So even though you want to switch off, even if you jump on a plane and go to the other side of the world, you still have work notifications coming through to your phone. And indeed, while we were away on the Isle of Wight a few weeks ago, my partner had to take work messages and respond to emails. He even had to stay up late one night to do a training session. And I always take my work with me, but I was also having to work late at night, early in the morning, throughout the day, while I'm on the beach, fossil in one hand, phone in the other. So it's very hard to switch off from work when we have devices with us at all times. So what do you do to switch off? Do you put your phone in another room? Do you go off grid completely and leave your phone and devices at home? It's very hard to. It's very, very hard to switch off and leave devices, because you need them for everything. Your tickets, your confirmation emails to get your rental car or whatever it is, to manage your bank, to use money, to do things. It's very difficult. You have to have your phone all the time. It drives me mad. I want to switch off, but I can't. And we carry on this sentence with the phrasal verb plow on. Some teachers want to plow through their reading list. To plow through means to work through something that's either difficult or long. You plow through it. Just imagining a farmer on his tractor pulling a plow and the plow moving through the soil. There's a lot of soil to turn. But the plow just keeps going, working hard. And sometimes you have to plow through. I have just come to year end when it comes to my company. And so my accountant has been emailing me saying, come on, Anna, you need to do your bookkeeping. You need to get your accounts up to date. Okay. I'd ignored it for a very long time. So I had a lot. I literally hadn't done my bookkeeping for about 10 months. And I knew it was going to be a lot of work, not just an hour, more like 3 days of work to bring my accounts up to date. And one day I just said, I can't leave it any longer. I must log into my bookkeeping app and start plowing through my accounts. And I did it eventually. I did it. I still need to do a little bit more, but I did the majority of it. And I just plowed through. I just kept working. I didn't do anything else. I just did my accounts. And when it was done, I felt relieved. And I thought, I'm not going to let it build up like that again. I'll do my accounts every week. Okay. So, is there something you need to plow through? Is there something you need to work on? Something that's long and difficult? Okay, so carrying on. Others are about to be struck by the sudden fear that they haven't brushed up enough on their English or Italian. So to brush up on, this is normally used when talking about refreshing your skills or knowledge. So you brush up on your skills, or you brush up on your English, your Italian. My partner can speak fluent Thai. He used to live and teach in Thailand, but he hasn't been, or he hadn't been to Thailand for many, many years. Recently, he was asked to go to a conference over in Thailand. And he was excited because it would give him a chance to revisit his friends, but also to use his Thai once again. He doesn't have many opportunities to speak Thai here in the UK. So he thought, fantastic. And so for a few weeks before he went to Thailand, he started brushing up on his Thai, trying to remember the language, the vocabulary, the structures, the tones, so that when he got there, he would be back in. And he was surprised at how much he had forgotten. Recently, both my partner and I are brushing up on our piano skills. We try to spend at least 10 minutes a day playing piano. I've neglected my piano playing for many years, and now I want to brush up on my skills. I want to find the level I was at before and maybe then progress. I'm also back at gymnastics. I'm trying to brush up on my gymnastic skills. So it's to revisit, refresh, and improve a skill or knowledge of something. Okay. So you might be struck by the sudden fear that you haven't brushed up enough on their English or Italian, and it won't be enough to get by on their holidays abroad. To get by is to manage or survive. So if I have very little butter in my kitchen, I have half a pat of butter, and I need to make sandwiches later. But before that, we'll probably have some toast, maybe for breakfast or for lunch. But I do need to make sandwiches for the kids' packed lunch boxes tomorrow. And I have enough butter to get by today, so I can manage to make my toast with the butter I have. But I don't have enough butter to get by beyond today. So I can't get by with this half a pat of butter if I'm thinking about packed lunches and tomorrow. So by the end of the day, I need to go to the shop to buy some more butter. Because although I can get by for a little while, it won't last for very long. And that's true. I'm surprised at how quickly our butter disappears. I'm sure a pat of butter used to last for a very long time when I was a kid. I guess I do cook with the butter, and we have a lot of bread in our house. Maybe that's the problem. Too much bread. Yes, I can make do. Yes, that's another one. That's another one. To make do. To make do. To get by. To deal. To use what you've got to cope. To make do. Thank you for offering that, Oleg. Okay, so if you haven't brushed up on your English before visiting an English-speaking country, you might be worried that you don't know enough to get by, to cope and survive, to get by while you're in that English-speaking country. And the passage goes on to say, luxury problems. They are problems that are not really problems, especially when you consider all the true problems in the world. No doubt, over the coming weeks, instant messaging groups will be buzzing as parents try to piece together a patchwork of camps, grandparents, screen time, and last-minute favors from friends. So to piece something together is to gather bits to understand or to organize something. So, for example, a detective, a police detective, when presented with a crime scene and a knowledge of a crime, they don't know what happened exactly. They need to piece together the story. They need to piece together what happened. They need to work out, by gathering all the bits of information that they have to gather that information to understand. So to piece together what happened, gather bits in order to understand. But also it can be to bring things together in order to move forward. Okay, so to organize something. I organized a huge birthday bash. Everything was perfect, but then the venue cancelled at the last minute. The catering company went bust and they won't answer my calls. I've barely got any money left because I didn't get my money back from the caterers or from the venue. And so now I'm trying to piece together some sort of event so this birthday bash can go ahead and my guests can still enjoy the birthday bash. So I'll have to try to find a friend with a big garden and find another friend to bring a marquee and ask everyone to bring a plate of food that we can all share and just piece together some sort of event. So to bring together lots of pieces, lots of bits. Fantastic. Hope this is helping. Okay, so they're going to piece together all these different bits to help with the childcare situation. Some will sign their kids up for everything. So to sign up for, this is a phrasal verb you're probably familiar with because it means to enroll or register for an activity or something online. For example, if you are one of my students, you would have signed up for a course or signed up for the fluency program. Maybe you signed up for my conversation club, which is my speaking class membership. What have you signed up for recently? This morning, just before this class, I signed up for a course myself. I signed up for a course in visual effects so I can brush up on my video editing skills. It's been a while since I did any learning on the video editing side of things. I used to do it all the time. I haven't done any learning for a while, and things are changing rapidly. The technology is evolving fast from an editing and media point of view. So I need to brush up on my skills. And I signed up for a course just before this session so that after this, maybe next week, I can start the course and brush up on those skills. What have you recently signed up for? Fabrice, you jumped in there. You recently signed up for CapCut. Yes, that's a software for video editing. I think you can use it on your phone, so it's quite easy, especially if you're using things like Instagram and sharing content made on your phone. So you signed up for Instagram. Who else has signed up for something? Have you ever signed up for an English course? Now, while we're at this point, we've been together for an hour. It goes so fast, doesn't it? If you're enjoying this or finding it useful in any way, then I would ask that you make sure you're following my account or subscribed so that you can join me when I next go live. I'm trying to be more frequent with my live sessions. They'll always be on a Friday, usually in the morning. I don't know about next week. I'll have to decide once I understand the childcare situation. But if you're subscribed to the YouTube channel with notifications turned on, you will know whether I'm live or not because you'll get the notification. So please sign up as a follower to my channel. And if you haven't already, then hit the like or the heart button so that I know you're enjoying this and it's useful to you. Thanks, guys. Okay. Let's see, has anyone else used a phrasal verb here? I recently brushed up my fluency. So in that case, I think it would feel more natural if you brush up on your fluency. I recently brushed up on my fluency or brushed up on my English fluency. Fantastic. Thank you, Leonardo, for your kind words. I'm wearing a new headband. Thank you so much. Okay, let's carry on. So they've signed up for all these different things: pottery workshops, trampoline parks, eco gardening boot camps, just to keep the wheels turning, just to keep everything moving and allowing them to continue their routine. Others might simply let things slide. So to let things slide is a phrase that means to allow things to be less well managed or to allow rules to be broken. For example, I am quite a strict mum. You might not believe it. I think I'm quite a loving and gentle mum, but I am strict with certain things. For example, my children are not allowed to come downstairs in the morning until they are dressed and washed and they've brushed their teeth. And when they come down in the morning, they are not allowed to watch TV. They start the day without screens. They start the day getting up, getting ready. We have breakfast, and from there we can decide what we're doing. However, because it's the holidays, I am letting things slide a little. So when we were in the Isle of Wight, in the mornings, every morning, the children were allowed to get out of bed, go straight into the front of our caravan that we were staying in. And they were allowed to sit there in their pajamas and watch children's television in the morning while we cooked breakfast. And then they would sit and eat breakfast in their pajamas, and then we'd get dressed afterwards and washed up and everything. So I let things slide because, you know, it's good when you want to kick back and relax. The children also want to kick back and relax, and it's good at times to just ease off and let things slide and switch off, not worry about things. Oh, Oleg, you're full of it today. Fantastic. Yes, to cut them some slack. In this case, if they got up and started watching TV, my instant reaction might be, hey, what are you doing? You're not dressed. You haven't brushed your teeth. You haven't washed your face. You're watching TV. My partner might say, hey, Anna, they're on holiday too. Cut them some slack. Go easy on them. Don't be so hard or so strict. Cut them some slack. Very good. Very, very good. Okay, so to let things slide. Others might let things slide and play it by ear. I love this phrase. I use this phrase a lot. to play it by ear means to do things spontaneously rather than planning it. Think of a musician. A musician would normally be presented with sheet music, and they'll follow the sheet music, da 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 da, and they'll play following the sheet music. If you ask me to play a song on my piano and I don't have the sheet music, or if I'm talented enough, I might be able to listen to the song and then say, oh, yes, it's do, 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 do. I'm playing it by hearing it. I'm playing it by ear. So I hear it and I play it. That's literally what it is. So I can play some nursery rhymes by ear. I can sing it to myself and then work it out. I can play it by ear. Metaphorically, to play something by ear is to do something without planning it. So you might say to me, Anna, you're coming to my country on holiday next week. Fantastic. I hope you love my country. What are you going to do when you're here? Are you going to see all the landmarks? Are you going to visit all the tourist areas, or do you want some recommendations of places that are really good to go? And I might say, hey, I've booked my accommodation. I've signed up for a special activity. I've signed up to do surfing lessons or something while I'm there. But generally, I'm just going to be spontaneous. I'm going to play it by ear. Once I get there, I'll decide what to do. I might meet some people. I'll just walk around and see what happens, see where the road takes me. I'll play it by ear. Yeah, so improvising. It's like improvising. I'll just improvise. I'll just see how it goes. Okay? I didn't plan today's class. I played it by ear. Yes, very good. Absolutely right. Okay. Any plans for tonight? No idea. I'm gonna play it by ear. Yeah, fantastic. Brilliant. You've got it. Okay. Back to the sheet. So they're going to play it by ear, embracing a looser routine and hoping for the best. Of course, not everyone can pull that off. To pull something off is to succeed at something that's difficult. For example, if you are a talented motorcycle rider, maybe you do tricks on a motorcycle or even a BMX, and you are competing and there's a huge audience watching you doing your, let's say a bike, a cycle bike. You're doing all these tricks that you normally do, but now you're presented with a challenge. You've been asked if you can do this trick that's never been done before, and it involves launching yourself and your bike off this huge ramp, doing some twists and spins, maybe even letting go of your BMX, your bike, doing a spin, a somersault in the air, and then remounting your bike and then landing on your bike on the other side. And all the commentators and the audience think this is too much. There's no way. You've never tried this trick before. I don't know why you're trying it now. And you do it and you succeed. You just pulled it off. The Lionesses, the ladies' English football team, recently were in the final against Spain. And the Spanish team were expected to win. They are the stronger team. But the Lionesses managed to hold on till the bitter end. It went to penalties and they won on penalties. They managed to pull off a win of the championships, of the competition. And they weren't the top dogs. They weren't expected necessarily to win. They were the underdogs, but they pulled it off. And everyone was very excited about it. Okay. So, of course, not everyone can succeed. Not everyone can pull it off. They can't succeed at just playing it by ear. Some people need plans. But whatever the circumstances, here's hoping the holidays don't just fly by, and that somewhere between the airport queues, snack negotiations, and battles over sun cream, we can look back on and hang on to a happy memory or two. So these are quite simple. To look back on is to remember, to reminisce, to think back to a time in the past when something significant happened. It's usually used in the positive, but you might also use it in the negative and say, I try not to look back on that time. When I look back on my time at university, it makes me feel quite sad. And that's not true for me. When I look back at my time at university, I feel sad because I wish I could relive it. I loved my time at uni. I look back on that time with fondness. And to hang on to is, again, to remember. To look back is about thinking back to a time in the past, and to hang on to is to remember or to make a moment last. So I might say to you, my children are growing up so fast. I just want to hold on to this moment. I want to hang on to this moment for as long as possible. I want to draw it out and make it last. And I will hang on to that memory. I will protect it and keep it alive. I'll hang on to the memory of my children at this age because they're so precious. My grandmother, my wonderful grandmother, I'm going to show you a picture. So my wonderful grandmother, this lady here, she was a very eccentric, talented language teacher. She taught German and Japanese, and she was an artist. She drew this picture of me when I was little with one of our Rottweilers. Wonderful, wonderful lady. I try my best to hang on to the memory of my grandma. It was very sad when she passed. And I do that by, keeping her artwork in sight and keeping her picture on display so that I can tell my children about grandma. And yeah, I try to hang on to the memory of her for as long as possible. Hopefully for the rest of my life. Okay. And that's the end of the passage. So let's now move on to do a few little exercises. Now remember this PDF, which is about 8 pages long, I think. This PDF is available within the PDF library. Anyone who joins the PDF library can get over 240, at the moment it's about 246 PDFs, and any future PDFs that I add to the library, of which I anticipate there'll be many, many, many more. And you can access the library with a lifetime library card. Today, I'm doing a special offer. I've put a link into the show notes, the video description, and I can also share it here for you in the chat. So take a look at the offer. If PDFs are useful to you in any way, then check out the offer. Many people enjoy having that access to the PDF material. And as I said, once you're in, you will have lifetime access to those PDFs and any PDFs added in the future. Okay, so can anyone remember and give a definition for to tie up loose ends? So that's the first thing I want you to think about. Can you remember? I gave a very visual description of tying up loose ends. So how would you describe this phrase? If you have a think about that and try not to Google it. Try to write your own definition in the chat. And while you're thinking about that and typing that in, I'll let you have a look at exercise 2. So I want you to put the following phrasal verbs into the appropriate sentence in the correct forms. Okay, so obviously the verb will change depending on how it's being used. So we've got look back on. Remember, that's like to remember time in the past. To make the most of, which is to use an opportunity to the best that you can. And to sign up for is to register for an activity. So the first sentence, no, I just revealed it. I hope you didn't see. I hope you didn't see that. I'm really rubbish at doing these quizzes. I always reveal the answer. Okay, I'll show you the 3 sentences. You can read them in your own time and decide for number 1, which phrasal verb is it? For number 2, which phrasal verb? And number 3, which phrasal verb? But can you write it in the right form that it should be in the sentence? Sentence 1, many families are rushing what? Summer camps before all the spots are taken. Number 2, with such a long break ahead, parents are trying the time by planning trips, activities, and some well-earned rest. Number 3, years from now, I hope the kids these summer holidays as some of the best days of their childhood. Okay, so can you put them into the right places? And having a look now back at the initial task, which was to give a definition for tying up loose ends. Let's see. Daniela, you've said to complete a task. Very good. Oh, you've put make it stronger. Mamet, you said to fix the previous issues. Okay, so to tie up loose ends, I think, Danila, you've done the best definition there, the most direct definition. It is to complete a task or a number of tasks. This is plural, loose ends. So it's to finish those last small details of a task or a situation, especially those that were previously incomplete or unresolved. Okay, so if things are unresolved and need resolving, tying up the loose ends is finishing those tasks or resolving those tasks and issues. Okay, so lots of you coming through with potential answers for filling these sentences now. Let's have a look. So many families are rushing to sign up for summer camps before all the spots are taken. Many families are rushing to sign up for. Rushing to sign up for. Fantastic. Number 2, with such a long break ahead, parents are trying. Did anyone get this? Yes. Yes, you did. To make the most of the time by planning trips, activities, and some well-earned rest. So you see, we're having to use to introduce the verb. Trying to, rushing to. What next? Years from now, I hope the kids will look back on. So we're talking about the future now. I hope years from now that the kids will look back on these summer holidays as some of the best days of their childhood. Very good. Okay, let's move on to exercise 3. Which of the groups of words collocate with each phrasal verb? So we've got the phrasal verb hang on to, which is like to remember. Brush up on, which is to improve a skill or knowledge, and to gear up for, which is to prepare. So we've got 3 groups here. Oh, it goes over the page. So let's just look at group 1 first. We've got which phrasal verb works, collocates with each of these. Your language skills, your maths, your grammar, your presentation skills. Is it to hang on to? Is it to brush up on? Is it to gear up for? What do you think? Which one collocates well with this first group of words? Any ideas? Danila, Oleg, both saying brush up on. Yeah, everyone's going for brush up on. You are absolutely right. You brush up on. Hang on. You brush up on your language skills. You brush up on your maths. You brush up on your grammar. You brush up on your presentation technique. Okay, so it's all about improving knowledge or improving and revisiting skills. So yes, you're right, brush up on. What about the second one? So we've got hang on to, brush up on, and gear up for. The summer holidays, exams, a trip abroad, a new school year. Which one is next? What phrasal verb collocates well with that group of words? Yes, okay. So lots of you saying gear up for, which means to prepare for. So yes, you're right. We're gearing up for the summer holidays, gearing up for exams, gearing up for a trip abroad, and gearing up for a new school year. So preparing yourself, getting excited about, getting ready for, gear up for. So then it leaves just one for this group, which is your childhood memories, that old school uniform, your holiday tickets, and those special moments. Of course, through the power of elimination, we know that this is going to be hang on to. We hang on to childhood memories. We hang on to that old school uniform for sentimental reasons. Yeah, I never know what to do there. I've got lots of items of clothing, like t-shirts with a group of people's name on because I did a show with them or I was in a class with them. And I don't wear them, but I don't want to get rid of them because they're sentimental. So I hang on to them. They just sit in the back of my wardrobe. You might hang on to your holiday tickets just in case. And you might hang on to those special moments so you remember, keep them safe. Very good. Okay, we've got time for one more exercise here. Which phrasal verb goes with each group of 3 sentences? All right, let's do the first 2. So number 1, this is a group of sentences with one phrasal verb in. The joke, something, badly with the audience. No one laughed. The new policy, something, well with the teachers and students alike. Dinner, something, smoothly after a long day at the beach. So that's our first group of sentences. What's missing? Is it tuck into, pull off, go down, plow through, kick in? Which one could it be? Which one could it be for that first group? What are you thinking? Any ideas? Any minute now, all the answers are going to come through. Okay. Oh, some different offers here. Okay, so we've got this one and this one. This one. So the right answer, drum roll please, is go down. The joke, remember, go down is to be received. The joke went down badly. It wasn't received well with the audience. No one laughed. That's awful, isn't it? You tell a joke or say something that's supposed to get a reaction and no one reacts. Eek. The new policy went down well. It was received well. The students and the teachers liked the new policy. Dinner went down smoothly. It was enjoyed after a long day at the beach. Okay, so well done for everyone who said go down. That was the correct phrasal verb, missing from the first group. How about the second group? What is missing? After the hike, the delicious homemade sandwiches. The kids couldn't wait. The birthday cake. His breakfast, like he hadn't eaten in days. So there's a theme here. Sandwiches, cake, breakfast. The theme is food. And so the right answer, Oleg, is right. Yes, it's tuck into. After the hike, we all tucked into the delicious homemade sandwiches. The kids couldn't wait to tuck into the birthday cake. He tucked into his breakfast like he hadn't eaten in days. Okay, I'm going to give you one more group. Or maybe two more. Maybe we'll just hang out. Maybe three more. Okay, here we go. Last three. And then we'll wrap up. Despite having inferior players, my team, an amazing victory. We managed the surprise party for our teacher's birthday. I wasn't sure we could finish on time, but in the end. What's missing from number 3? Any ideas? Yes. Okay. Answers are coming in. Fantastic. You are right. To pull off, which is to achieve something that's considered quite difficult. Despite having inferior players, so players that aren't necessarily very good, inferior, my team pulled off. They succeeded to achieve an amazing victory. We managed to pull off the surprise birthday party for our teacher's birthday, or surprise party, sorry. So they succeeded in organizing and throwing a surprise party, which can be hard. It can be hard to organize something that's a surprise for someone. I wasn't sure we could finish on time, but we pulled it off in the end. We succeeded in the end. Very good. Number 4, what's missing from this group of sentences? I had a huge pile of homework before the weekend. She, Ulysses, determinedly and finally finished it today. We spent paperwork to get ready for the trip. Okay, well, this seems to be the theme of work, right? And finishing work. So what phrasal verb is missing here? Yes, coming in. Yeah, fantastic. Yes, to plow through means to work through something that's difficult. So I had to plow through a huge pile of homework before the weekend. So you work through it until it's finished. She plowed through Ulysses, which is a very big book, determinedly, and finally finished it today. Whew. We spent the afternoon plowing through paperwork to get ready for the trip. Fantastic. Last one. The pain medication started about 30 minutes after taking it. Once the caffeine I felt much more awake. The stress began as the exam date got closer. So this is all about something beginning. The medication started. Once this had began, and the phrasal verb is, yeah, you're jumping in there. Fantastic. Yeah, and Ali as well. And Fabrice, yeah, fantastic. It is kick in. So when something begins to take effect. So the pain medication started to kick in about 30 minutes after taking it. Once the caffeine had kicked in, I felt much more awake. The stress began to kick in as the exam date got closer. Amazing. Guys, I am going to leave it here now. There is more, and also the answers available too in that PDF. And like I said, that is available in the library that's on special for today. And there will be many more PDFs like it on the way into that library. So check out the offer, which is in the description. I do hope you enjoyed it today. If you haven't already, please do let me know that you've enjoyed it by booping that like button. And if you're not already following, then please do follow and turn on the notifications so that you're notified when I next set up a live stream, hopefully next Friday morning. But I will have to let you know, and I should be booking that in very soon. So do make sure you're following. Thank you so much for joining me today. You've been awesome. And if you're looking for something else to sink your teeth into when it comes to learning English, remember I have a podcast that produces 5 episodes a week. So a new episode every day of the working week, from Monday to Friday. The podcast is called The English Like a Native Podcast. Very imaginative. The English Like a Native Podcast is available on YouTube as a YouTube channel called The English Like a Native Podcast. But there's also, it's available on any streaming platform. So wherever you normally listen, just search for The English Like a Native Podcast. You'll see my face. And then you can listen to my voice on your daily commute or while you're making breakfast each day. I look forward to tickling your eardrums there. Alternatively, I also have services, classes, and courses all available that you can get involved with. We'd love to have you. The website is on the screen here, englishlikeanative.co.uk. Okay, and for those of you asking about the library, I'll share the link here in the chat one more time. Fantastic. I do hope you have a wonderful day. I'm going to go and have lunch now and some caffeine. Hopefully the caffeine will kick in very soon because I'm feeling a bit tired now.